first, of course, we've got to start off with Rachel on Caitlin Bristow's Off the Vine podcast because she was talking about everything from her time on the show, dating, maybe some new love interests, Tino, I mean, all of it. So let's get to what I think is on everybody's mind since after the final rose, that whole Aven Rachel moment. Where are they? What are they? Okay, so here's what Rachel had to say. She said that she cares about him so much. She wants him to be happy in whatever capacity that is, whether it's with her or another way. And she said she's open to seeing, where things would go with him. Obviously, it's not just her in it. It takes two to tango. She's been traveling a lot, just got back to LA. So I'm curious, do you think Aven should give Rachel another chance? Because she sent him home. So now I think
Mm.
it's in Aven's ball field, not
Yeah,
Rachel's.
yeah, I was gonna say, I like how you worded that because I
Thank
also
you.
agree. I think it is you're welcome. I think that it is in Avon's court. I do think the ball is in his court to, you know, take Rachel back. I mean, she did break up with him and she would be his kind of he would be her kind of second choice. So
Mhm.
yeah, I know for a lot of guys in past seasons, like Brandon Jones, he was like, you know what? No, I wouldn't revisit that with Michelle if anything were to happen because I don't want to be anyone's second choice. So, yeah, I don't know. I think that if I were Avon, I would probably just, you know, just be like, girl, goodbye and God bless. I want to make sure you're okay, but I don't know if I want to kind of revisit our relationship. I think
Yeah.
that yeah, they should just kind of be cool, be friends, but move forward separately.
But he did show up for her at the after the final rose when he didn't have to. So it like makes me feel like maybe there's still some lingering feelings and potentially a
Mm,
cracked door. Even though you're like, if I were
I
him,
think
I'd be
it's
saying
possible.
like bye, but
It's possible. I think it's possible, but we also have to keep in mind like how heavy production just comes. Like they are just,
yes.
they're relentless at times. And I think that for Avon, he's such a great guy. He probably genuinely just wanted to make sure Rachel was okay because the Tino situation was pretty insane and there's just so many emotions. So he was
Yeah.
like, okay, cool. I'll go on stage, I'll do it, I'll check on her. But, I don't know if there's anything really happening. I think they're just kind of like hyping it up, but they probably really are good
Keeping the
friends. They're probably on good
conversation.
terms. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay, so talking about, that intense moment with Tino, obviously we know that Rachel had dumped Aven for Tino. She's now saying, kind of watching back the show, that there were a lot of red flags that she had seen with him, which I feel like I've said previously was that the way that Tino, she's perfect for me. This, the way that he just spoke, I just felt
Mm,
like was so, and they spoke together. He was like, there's going to be nobody else that's better suited for you. And I just feel like verbiage like that is so interesting because how are you telling somebody that
mm,
there's nobody better than me? Oh, did you see those red
mm.
flags watching the show?
Yeah, I think we all saw a lot of Tino's red flags. And I get what Rachel's saying of just like watching it back, like she's seeing it with a
Yeah.
different lens. And yeah, I mean, I think it's tough though, because I think a lot of guys say stuff like that on seasons. It's not new. So I wasn't shocked, that there was
Yeah.
verbiage of, no one else's connection is as strong as ours. I just know it. I think
Yeah.
we were kind of seeing it more as like blind pride, maybe, but also we saw that Rachel and Tino's connection was kind of the best. And
Mhm.
so I don't know. It's interesting. The Tino thing is interesting. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I want to dive in a little bit more into kind of what Rachel shared
Mm,
because she said she wished the men would have told her about him. She said that
yeah.
she felt like Tino had treated the show like a game. She said watching back that she would notice when she would tell Tino something deep or really emotional that he almost would have no expression in his eyes. It looked like he was just kind of
Mm,
there. And then she also said that she used the verbiage horrible to watch back the show relationship with Tino. I mean, I know that I said I noticed red flags, but I felt like there was nothing that was outworldly like something that the men needed to come to Rachel for. So I'm curious what, like, I
Mhm.
wish she would have been a little bit more specific in what she saw or what she was referring to, because I would
Mhm.
like to know exactly what she's talking about.
Yeah, that's a good point. Just because the one thing that's coming to mind is, how Tino responded when he didn't get the rose on that one group date. And,
Mm,
uh,
yeah.
Ethan and Aven and some of the guys clocked it and were like, yeah, Tino's acting like a little baby.
Mm.
We know,
Mhm.
we know and love that new term. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, I think, but what ended up happening was that, Ethan and Tino had a conversation post that kind of altercation or situation and smoothed it over. So, yeah, I don't really know what Rachel's coming from in terms of the men telling her about him. I think when we see that happen in previous seasons, we're always like, just you stick to your relationship with the lead and don't bring in other guys
Yeah.
because then it just becomes about that. And then you lose time. You don't have time for that. So I don't know if that's fair, but I see what she's saying of just like watching it back. It's tough, especially knowing what she knows now and where they are now. Of course, it would be tough to watch back, period. But yeah, I see what she means, even with just like no expression in his eyes. I think we were kind of talking about that towards the end of the season. So yeah, the Tino of it all is just it is a tough one for Rachel for sure.
A funny side note that she said, and I wasn't gonna get deep into this, but she had shared with Caitlin, she goes, I basically gave it away what the ending was for Tino and I during part one of the after or of the finale. Because I mean, we all saw it,
Yes.
we all talked about it. Like when they're playing the
Right.
trailer for part two, she's looking down in the corner, she's not watching the screen. And she said to Caitlin, she's like, I could not physically watch the
Mm,
playback of the trailer of me getting engaged to Tino and everything happening, and she's like, "I totally gave it away," but
mm.
we like, it's so funny because we all picked up on that.
Exactly. And we were all like, stop showing the little side box of their reactions because we're being spoiled. Yeah, we all were just like, can you guys stop this? We can see that Gabby's happy and Rachel's not. It's just ruining it.
Literally. Okay, the third topic from the Off the Vine podcast that I think we have to talk about, potential of her and Greg Grippo. I so Rachel shared that they recently followed each other on Instagram. Caitlin asked something like, would there be anything? And Rachel said, I could definitely flirt with Greg Grippo. So, what do you think of this matchup? Would you be a supporter of Greg and Rachel?
You know what? I actually could see them being at least aesthetically really cute together.
Okay.
I think though that Rachel should well, let me say this. I saw Greg on Nick Vial's podcast, and he was really just defending Rachel, sticking up for her, like through and through. So, I mean, and I think that if Rachel is openly saying I would flirt with him, she probably already has, and he probably has back. So
Sure.
she wouldn't say
Yeah.
anything if that wasn't already a thing kind of brewing, and he wasn't kind of showing clear interest in her. But the one thing I will say as well is I do think Rachel should take time and like just make sure she's okay. Like work on herself, like go
Yeah.
to therapy, like really unpack everything, not just with Tino, but just like even how, we had some
Yeah.
criticisms when it came to Rachel on the season. So just like Greg did it for himself, he really took the time after Katie's season and like searched and like healed. And so I know
Mhm.
Greg is ready. Well, seemingly Greg is ready. So I just want to know that Rachel's really ready. But I could definitely see them together. I think that might be cute.
Well, it's so funny because she actually commented on that exact thing that you just said. She goes, "Everybody is
Mm.
telling me that I need to take time, that I need to make sure I'm ready." She goes, "But, this breakup happened months and months ago." So she's basically like, "I've taken the time. I'm ready."
I don't know though, because sis couldn't even watch it back. She looks clearly still upset. So I feel like, yes, we can all
That's a
feel
great
like we
point,
are, but
actually.
really make sure that you really, really have like no feelings about it. Like I'm apathetic. I don't even care. So I want her to get to
Yeah.
that place. I don't know if she's really
Okay.
there yet. So yeah, we'll see.
That's actually a really good point, Kayla. Aesthetically, like you said, I could see them together. I just don't know that I could see them totally working out only because of how I saw he
Yeah.
handled himself with Katie Thurston. And not that I thought Greg was wrong at all with Katie, but Rachel is similar to Katie in the sense that they both have very
Mm,
high emotions, a little over the top
mhm.
emotions sometimes. Greg's very
Yeah.
laid back, relaxed, chill. I see her being a little much for him. I mean, maybe, opposites attract could be a good balance,
Yeah.
but I see it being maybe
Mhm.
overwhelming.
Yeah. You know what though? I think that that could really work, but I think the difference is that I think that, him being laid back and her being more like lively, and I see the connection with Katie and Rachel. But I think that
Mhm.
also Katie and Rachel have some similarities that, aren't so great all the time. So if Rachel kind of gets those in check, it seems like Greg really got himself in check and really
Yeah.
is past kind of his mistakes in that whole Katie situation. Then I think that maybe they could really work because, yeah, I think opposites attract and I think they could balance each other
Yeah.
out maybe. But, that's, we're kind of forecasting really far into the future. We'll see if they even,
We are really
you know,
forecasting very far into
go
the
out or
future.
something.
Probably
Yeah.
probably nothing will even happen, but we're like creating a whole relationship and
Yeah.
everything.